know it's No Ideas Original.
Welcome to the No Ideas Original podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Ken. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's up?
Easy with it, man. Easy with it.
Rob is doing the celebration dance.
Listen, anybody thought that we was gonna slide under the rug? Lucky leprechaun is out there, brother. Watch out.
Rob is doing. How long you been a Celtics fan for? I used to hate the Celtics when I was a kid.
The kid, it was the only complete team that I liked. I was a players fan. I liked Barkley, and Barkley happened to be on Philly at the time, so would dub me as a Philly fan when I was just a Barkley fan. But so on and so forth. But when I officially became a Celtic fan is the year prior to them drafted Antoine Walker. When he became Cybertron and he was first started doing the Hezo, that's when I became a Celtic fan. I always liked them, but I officially became a Celtic fan because I wasn't a Barkley fan no more.
I could live with that because I thought you was about to be like Dennis Johnson and ML Carr and
back in them days, that's what I'm saying. That's when I was 100% a Barkley. They was a great team, but I becoming a Celtic fan when they was rock bottom, when they had Eric Montrose and oh my God, Ed Pinckney.
Did you say Ed Pinckney?
Pinckney.
I remember him.
Ed McCaffrey, pardon me. The whole Kentucky squad was on there. Ron Mercer was on the Celtics.
Yeah, I remember Mercer. Yeah. Yo, I don't know. I just was not a fan of the Celtics. I felt like the Celtics, it was just, they just always gave like a racist vibe. I didn't appreciate how great Larry Bird was as a player until after his playing days was over. Then that's when I was like, yo, I got, how you call it, respect Larry Bird. But when it was every year, the Celtics versus the Lakers, I was never pulling for the Celtics.
No,
of course.
Like
the Lakers look like
a dirty player. Yo, it's just something about them that I could not get with.
No, that wasn't me. The Celtics, yeah.
Nev, what up?
What up, Nate? Upstate New York in the building.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you said you was a Celtics fan, I'm like, okay, all right. No, it's weird to me now, like to even see people that be like, yo, I'm a Red Sox fan or I'm a Patriots fan.
Way before Paul Pierce and KG and all of them got there. I was riding with them when they was the bummiest squad, man. They had nobody. But I said to myself, this is a franchise that I knew at some point. When they picked up Cybertron, they started picking up players that had Dana Barrows. They started picking up guys here and there for a while.
You said Dana Barrows.
It's gonna come.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, dude, you had to be crushed with the Len Bias thing.
Them days,
he really wasn't a Celtic fan back then with Len Bias.
That was a hurtful time because I remember that. But I was like, I was a Barkley head, man. I was all day Barkley, bro. All day long.
Yeah.
Rebound. Boy, I was a little chubby, so it kind of fit.
Yeah, Barkley got some of my favorite sneakers too. The black ones with the silver circles with the purple.
Yeah. I feel like those are back out.
Yeah, they just brought them back out. I'm about to get another pair.
Yeah, the big Nike in the back of it he used to wear. The red and white Nikes.
Yo, so how everything else going on? How your week been?
My week has been good, bro. Finally got my wheel situation on the road, so all of that's looking good. I can move around a little bit. That was pretty much the highlight of my week, going back and forth, changing my license and get my registration and all that stuff taken care of. So
it's about to unlock a whole nother experience for you down there.
Oh, yes.
Learn how to navigate this traffic. Whew, it's crazy. Wow. But I'm getting around it because, my little GPS to take me off of the highway and bring me in some of them back blocks that I'm starting to learn. So,
okay, so this is official. You're a Southerner.
Official resident. I'm a Southerner now, son. Northern Southerner. All
right, so let's get into it. This week on Monday, the Diddy trial officially started. And I think they spent the week working on jury selection. So they anticipate that this trial will probably be about 2 months. But I want us to all give our predictions on a verdict today before we get to the end, just to see what people's thoughts are with it. Now, one of the things that for me in thinking about this that kind of stood out is I'm like, I've heard so much conversation about Diddy and watched so many different YouTube videos that I kind of lost sight of like what the actual charges are. And the reason why I lost sight of what the actual charges are is because everybody got an opinion on baby oil and Cassie video, and it's just a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm gonna read the charges to you guys, and then we could talk about it. In fact, like what the actual charges are. So he's charged with 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, a RICO, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded not guilty to all these charges, and he was offered a plea deal. Nobody knows the specifics of the plea deal, but he turned the plea deal down. Just wondering, I guess, what are you guys' thoughts on the trial? Before you give your prediction, what are you guys' thoughts on the trial?
Well, I can tell you this: they're gonna drag it. They're gonna drag it as long as possible, man, because it's tough enough to find 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Puffy has a very flamboyant life, man. And forget about Puffy. Sean Combs. Sean is facing 15 years to life. That's not something to sneeze over. This man ain't gonna get patted on his back or hit on his hand, man. So the trial is gonna be tough. I just think I smelled money grab because of his name, and I was also thinking, are we gonna witness an OJ system post-pandemic situation where this just drags on? But the trial itself, with the names that's been coming out and all that, I just think it's gonna be a fiasco for a little while. But I think it's gonna garner people's attention because people really want to see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen to this guy? Is he gonna fry, or he gonna do another video after this, man? So
yeah, if he did get acquitted, though, I kind of feel like that he need to lay low. Like after his first trial, that he actually was found not guilty in, it almost like it fed his ego a little bit. And all you heard was before this trial started was like all the grumblings of everything that he said to people allegedly as intimidation tactics, as to why not to mess with him. So hopefully, like if he beats this, that it'll probably add some level of humility to him and make him kind of be like, I need to kind of fall back and lay low for a minute. And I feel like that after that tape came out with Cassie,
I was gonna say
for a minute.
They're allowing that to be played. They're allowing that in this trial.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a tough case. Now, who they pick as jurors, if they pick a majority of women and they show that tape, he's out of this. Son. He's gonna be doing life.
Well, I thought that was kind of strange though, because listening to the charges, it's sad, but I don't think what happened to her really correlates with any of the charges.
I was just gonna say the same thing, but you know what it does show? It paints the picture of they want to paint him as being violent,
a menace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it paints a very clear picture. You're in a public hotel, your cameras in the lobby. You didn't care about this girl's well-being. You didn't care about where you was. You're a menace, and that's what they want to paint this picture of him as being that. And of course, he's going to have to paint a picture totally opposite of that, which is all of his donations and all the money he gave away over the years. He's going to use that as
the schools and stuff. Yeah,
use all that stuff to hold him down. But this guy got a lot of stuff, and I think even his son was implicated in one of these charges where he was the reason why the young audience or the younger crew was coming, because he was
they said that he was
party at my dad's house. Come on.
Yeah. Brown on the Beat 585 and the IG said they're allowing the tape, but the prosecution said they may not present it as evidence.
Okay. I do think that down the road, I think another plea will be offered, because I think right now both sides feel real confident about their chances of winning. Let's see how they feel in about 4 weeks from now. On one side's like, listen, this ain't going the way I thought it was. So,
Well, yeah. Well, the thing about it is, the feds conviction rate is 98, 99% or something. So most of the time, if the feds bring something to trial, they're gonna get a conviction out of it. Could this be a case though where the feds were probably a little overzealous based on who it was and was like, oh, this is a person to make an example of? Because remember, there's a litany of other people that had high levels of fame that were accused of similar, there were similar accusations, like the Weinstein dude. This was when, like all of these things came out, and it could have been potentially that, they jumped fast and be like, oh, all right, this is somebody that I could kind of make my name on, a DA. Or a prosecutor would be like, I can make my name on this.
Yeah, it's high profile.
But I do think that there will be another deal presented at some point in time.
I think so too. Yeah.
You think Diddy's gonna blow? Do you think Diddy gonna go platinum?
Do I think? I think he's not. I think Diddy is not going to take any deal. Only deal that I could see Diddy taking is time served already. And what would the charge have to be reduced down to for it to be time served already? If you basically got him on a RICO, you indicted him, on the basis of a RICO. Like, so if you look again, like 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prosecution. And he's pleaded not guilty. He's already been found guilty in the court of public opinion.
Oh yeah,
he's done there.
Yeah, he's. Well, think about it. You can get 18 impartial jurors.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Like, do you think that we live in a society where there are jurors that have the ability to separate their emotions and to separate whatever the news cycle is saying? Because again, people have seen the evidence of him actually assaulting Cassie, but those aren't the charges. And will people be able to make the dissociation, the distinction between, like, all right, that was something that he did, but that's not what he's being charged for.
I mean, at a point, he's got to understand this, because like the number one way to lose your money is getting these court cases and all the other stuff. So you get to a point where you start to think about certain things, like you go back to like Jason Williams. The state of New Jersey spent more money trying to convict Jason Williams than they did on the police force and education for years. And all that to get him to do 39 months and basically time served, and he walked away and he still had money.
They look to bring down a high profile case, man. And that's why I said money grabs, Yada. That's why I said money grab, because with Puffy's name and all of the names associated with him, to see who gets spoken about. Does someone go down with Puffy? Does Puffy tell on someone? You're gonna make a spectacle out of this case, and it's gonna drag along. Now people are gonna set they DVRs all day for it.
Well, how long has he been in there already?
Since last year sometime. So that video came out in May, and then not too shortly after that, September, something like that, he got knocked up.
So think of it this way, right? You get down there, you go another year, because this is not, he can say 2 months all he wants. There's no way it's going to be over in 2 months.
Nah, he ain't coming to court.
How long has Michael Weinstein's case been going on?
Well, Harvey Weinstein's case. It's been going on for a minute. But remember, he got convicted, and I think that they ended up having a retrial. He got a retrial on the strength for something that transpired. Yeah. They had already convicted him. So he on his second trial.
If you Puff and you look at the amount of money you have, right, and the DA, they start to feel like they might not have a slam dunk, and they come to him like, listen, we'll give you a 5 to 10 or something like that. His ego might want to say no, but in those 7 years that he'll walk away with a $500 million, might say something otherwise.
Yeah, I think Puffy blowing trial. I think that I don't think there's a deal, that he would take. I don't see him taking a deal.
You think he's gonna blow trial?
I don't see him taking a deal. Only deal I could see him taking is a deal where they say, "How you could come home. We got you on making unsolicited porn tapes." So I don't know, something stupid, but I could not see dude taking cop into any of these charges. I can't.
He said he's feeling nervous. Puffy did.
I mean, who's not to go to trial?
And he's adding the super team. He's got like, how many lawyers he got? He's adding a whole crew of lawyers. And I don't know, man.
This is where it gets a little bit challenging too, though, because one of the Fed strategy is to take people into deep water and drown them financially, you know.
And they're being very selective in this jury selection. Anyone that got these partial feelings, you done heard the album, you like them in the movie. No, you don't need none of that. We need someone who's a psychiatrist who don't even know Puffy. You don't know. We want people who don't know this man, but when they hear these charges, and if they do decide to use that video, which is a very incriminating, they're just gonna make him look like a womanizer. I think that's the thing they want to paint. They want to paint this womanizer monster.
But you gotta be realistic. How many people actually don't know Puffy? From that video aside, from all the music, the liquor, the revolt. I mean,
aliases, right?
Yeah, this guy's like a super recognizable figure. Like, it's hard to find anybody, probably in other countries, that don't know exactly who Puffy is.
Well, that was R. Kelly's argument. Remember, R. Kelly was saying that he couldn't get a fair trial because everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
You know? So all right, let's give you a prediction. You know, like what's the prediction? Do you think that Puffy is going to be found guilty or not guilty? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I think he's going to be found guilty, but I think that he's gonna get a reduced sentence. Because I think that they're not going to have enough evidence to get all the charges they want. So there's no way he's getting that 15 to life. He'll probably do something between 5 to 10.
So you think that they'll find him? You think they'll find him guilty on something, but he won't be found guilty on everything? And the people that's watching, put it in the chat.
Yeah, they'll probably be found guilty on the lesser charges, like that RICO thing. There's no way they find him guilty on the RICO case.
Yeah, but the freak offs, bro, I don't know, with 100,000, you got all that oil, all that stuff.
He just wanted to be moisturized.
Nah, son, there's not enough moisturization in the world. But I agree with Yada. I think he's not going to do life, but I think they're going to tap him though. But see, I also think how he lessens his charge is that somebody's going down with Puffy too.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a dragnet. There's going to be a bunch of people.
That's why it's going to drag.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a show.
It's gonna be some cross examinations and I wasn't there, yo Puff. Why you lied, son? Or it's gonna be a lot of.
So think about it this way. What's interesting, right, is they bust into Puffy's house and took all those tapes and stuff, right?
Yeah, bro.
Tapes actually surfaced with all the guests there. Because if I'm Puffy, I'm like, listen, bro, let's roll the tapes. Let's talk about it. Let's do this. Let's roll all the tapes for everybody in the court to see all the people that was at these events.
Okay, so Radical Notion said Trump will likely pardon him. He loves a villain. Brown on the beat said, I think he's going down unless he snitches on some others. He going to do at least 25.
I think Trump is on one of the tapes.
Okay, Neville said New York justice system is very corrupt. Global, nobody from hip hop is in jail. Puff is finished, hence R. Kelly. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm probably the odd person in the room because I think that he's gonna beat this case. And the reason why I say that I think that he's gonna beat this case is because perversion, you know, he's basically on trial for being having a freak off and living an alternative sexual lifestyle, even if you don't agree with it, it's not criminal. And I can see you got good enough attorneys that they're going to actually paint the picture of him being somebody who was heavily under the influence of alcohol, heavily under the influence of drugs, and he was having they could even use the terminology he was having freak offs. Yeah. Nowhere in the statute of law is it illegal to have a freak off.
Yeah,
Now,
he get
what makes it illegal is if you force other people to participate in it by way of distributing narcotics.
Right.
And even with them having those tapes and everything, for the prosecution to use those tapes, they would have to reveal what's on those tapes to his attorney.
Yeah.
He got the best attorneys that money could buy. If there was something that was that incriminating on that tape, I'm almost certain
took the deal.
that
Yeah.
he would have took the deal or whatever. So I feel like that his attorneys are looking and they're saying like, yo, there's no, we don't see, we don't have a
Nothing
smoke.
that sticks. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I call it. If he does get convicted, he'll be convicted because of the court of public opinion about how people feel about, you know, how the stuff with Cassie. So I think that the prosecution, when they were looking for jurors, I'm sure they were looking for females, you know, and you know, people that would appeal and look at it and say like, this dude has a
monster
history of you know, of violence against women or whatever. But again, the charge isn't, these aren't domestic violence charges. You know, he got transportation to engage in prostitution. He interacts with so many people, and I could see him muddying the water and being like, well, I didn't bring these people across state lines. Well, almost dry snitching to a degree.
You gotta do some snitching, bro.
Now the other thing around it too, all right. So if you saying that he sex trafficked people and you know he committed fraud and he committed coercion, usually when you talk about RICOs, you know, there are other people in the indictment. Who are the other people that's in the indictment with him? If it's a criminal organization, where are the other players of the criminal organization?
And the workers at the same time.
That's what's his name? Pierre Harv?
Pierre, but he's not named in the indictment. They didn't. Pierre hasn't been locked up. So who are the RICO? RICOs were created originally for
kingpin status. Kingpin status, yeah.
So who are the other players? They basically saying he created a criminal enterprise.
Now, when I seen that, I was like, I don't know if that's the right word to use.
Where are the other people?
Yeah,
the co-conspirators. Yeah.
Where are the other people? So that's why I'm like, you know, in a court of public opinion, yes, because people want to look and be like, you know, you did all this stuff, you had all this freaky sex, or you did whatever it is, you know, people go and clown and joke on it. But when you get down to actual law, like if they actually stick to law, dude may have a chance of actually getting off. You know, he may have a chance. And Global said he not beating those gun charges. I don't know. I'm guessing the gun charges is tucked into the fraud and coercion or sex trafficking by force. Because when they ran up in his crib, they did find those guns, right?
Yeah.
You know, they did find those guns, and I guess what they say possession is what 9/10 of the law. Yeah. So I'm sure he got a good enough attorney to be like, yeah, you know, my client is high profile, and you know his security keep whatever, you know, like I just feel like that
he's gonna beat it.
And that the charges that they have on him may not be the right charges. Now, if we were to look at like from a civil standpoint, somebody gonna get some money out of him.
Well, you know, it's funny. None of the women, I haven't heard about any of them coming forward.
Well, they don't. They had, who did they have? They had Cassie. I think they listed her as a witness, and they had a Jane Doe or something, right? But didn't they say that she's not? She said that she don't want to be involved or something like that.
Yeah, but I think there are two others that are going along with it. So
Cassie's thing is going to be interesting because
they're going to
be, you know, you've seen her in that video, but she can't hide the fact that she was getting paid for several years and the money stopped. So that could be a situation where this witness is testifying because they no longer getting paid.
I mean, she got nobody knows what the settlement, the amount was, but she got quite a check off of him. That was honestly one of the mistakes I feel like he made. He settled too fast. And then the other mistake I think he made was that when he made that video, I'm sure no attorney advised him to make that video, but they already laying the groundwork for that. He was mentally unstable and had a drinking problem and a drug problem. And, you know, I'm sure that he'll get up there and fall on a sword and say, yeah, I had these freak offs or orgies, or I had whatever it is. And then the defense attorney, his attorney is going to be like, yeah, but that's not criminal.
Yeah.
You know, so I could see, you know, I could
see a pervert. You touch somebody.
That's what I'm saying exactly. I think he's definitely guilty of being a pervert.
Yeah, I don't know if you go to jail for that.
Now, if
That's
you're
the case. We got a lot of people headed to jail soon.
So I guess we'll see in the coming weeks like how it plays out. But I'm in agreement that there'll probably be another plea deal offered. Who knows what the initial plea deal was? Eventually that'll come out, I would imagine. But even if you look at it this way, like the other crazy thing about it is that this dude, didn't he try to offer up like $50 million for bail or bond, and they said nah, they wasn't taking it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so how you go from $50 million for bond to here's a deal, if you want, here's a deal. What did that deal include? Unless it was some outrageous deal where they could probably be like, we'll give you life with the possibility of parole, or some deal.
Yeah, they want Puff bad, bro. They want Puff to eat. They want him to squeal like a pig, bro. I'm telling you.
So this is global. Global makes a point. He said Harvey Weinstein is an example for nasty sex act. But Harvey Weinstein, there's several smoking guns. Like that dude sexually abused probably 50 A-list Hollywood female celebrities.
He doubled down on that though. Recently, he was like, "Listen, they wanted to come up in a career, so this was the price of admission." Like he doubled down on it.
He got a couple of Disney kids under his belt. Now we're gonna leave Harvey alone.
Oh, literally.
Leave Harvey alone. But Pete, I think Diddy's case is the young people. And I tell you, they put his son right in the middle of it, man. They threw him right in, and his son brings the younger talent to the home. I was like, wow. How they do this young man like that? Just like your dad. You just bring him.
So how come they have him listed as a co-conspirator then?
His name was in the books. That's a good question. How came up?
That might be the next step. If they feel like they losing, they let Puff know. Well, if you don't take this deal, we're gonna implicate your son. That's gonna be step 2.
Your boy, you got to give him your boy, Puff.
Yeah, that's a crazy deal, right? You give you life with the possibility of parole. Oh man. They said they also, like, all the reports
man
that I'm hearing is that Puff, they allow him Puff to wear his regular clothes in there, so he don't have to come in with his his jail suit on. He's wearing his regular clothes. He which is smart too. He didn't dye his hair or anything, so that's smart. Like all these little different things play into the dynamics of the girls too.
Yeah, he looked crazy with that gray hair, son. He's like looking like Obama out there.
Yeah, this is why the DA went RICO, so they kill him with all the acts. Like, yeah, but who? And if it's a RICO, who is co-conspirators? Who else is involved with the criminal organization? And why haven't any of them been indicted?
You got to have lieutenants, all that.
Because remember the RICO that they have for Murder Inc., it was Irv Gotti, Chris Gotti, and all of it was in the name of them getting supreme. But at least they said, that this is a criminal enterprise. This dude is a one-man criminal enterprise. So when they put up, how you ever see, like, when they put up the crime org chart and they have like the head, it's just him, and then underneath
the arrows.
No, it's a bunch of them. It's Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Brother Love, Diddy. All of these guys.
All his alias.
I don't know. So all right, so we got 2 guilties. Like I said, I'm gonna go with not guilty. I think that he'll get off. I could see him getting off. What you said, Rob?
Wait till he start talking about the baby oil. Like, why did he need 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I don't care, but I know it's not a criminal offense.
He doesn't have endorsements with Johnson & Johnson. Like, what's
maybe he was working on it. They had a deal.
Well, so high caller. So what? So would it have been different if he had 1,000? If they'd have found 1,000 condoms?
No, I think that they wouldn't even, if he found 1,000 condoms, that'd have been all right, because he is who he is. So you figure, like, all right, this man has a lot of women in his life. Condoms is normal for safe sex. You got 2 million bottles of baby oil unopened.
He's doing some wrestling.
Selling it? What are you doing with baby oil, bro?
Yo, you know what's gonna be crazy? when they be like, yo, we want to, this is exhibit whatever, and they got the pictures of like his baby oil
You should
closet.
call Johnson and Johnson to the stand. Listen, I want to
Baby
call
oil
Johnson
is
and
gonna
Johnson.
be the star witness.
I'm just saying, they got, so if the cops kicking anybody door and they find 500 bottles of baby oil or whatever, like, is that a criminal offense? Like, should they be like, oh shit, we got you?
But as rules, it leads to suspicion based on all the other charges. That's a rule. That's a suspicion right there, bro.
So all right. So hold on. So hold on a second. Hold on. So if people believe that you indulging in cooking up drugs, and they kick in your door, they don't find no drugs, but they find
1,000 bottles of baking soda,
50 boxes of baking soda or whatever. And they say, yeah, we got 50 boxes. What you mean 50 boxes of baking soda for? And they take that to trial. Do you think that that's how you call it? That's a smoking gun? Like, yo, you don't have no other evidence. Not to say that they don't have any other evidence on Diddy, but they just be like, yo, we got these. If you look right here, here's 50 boxes of baking soda.
Maybe you got it for your refrigerator.
Baking soda.
Does that warrant a conviction though? Like, is that legitimate evidence to indict somebody? You get 50 boxes of baking soda.
It warrants serious suspicion. I'm just telling you. Very hard suspicion to be walking around or just have for no reason. You're just in an empty big house and you got 60 bottles of Arm & Hammer baking soda. For what, Sean? What are you doing with that stuff? In the kitchen, mind you. So where do they find this baby? In the bathroom, right? And they find
I don't know. It can't be. Where could you store 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Gotta be like in the cabinet or some kind of storage room.
Cabinet, you gotta put that.
What Jimmy
got a storage room.
My bathtub lift up, my walls do a 360.
You got shit that the government got, bro.
Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah, I think the guns support the violent stuff, but again, like it's funny to us because you're like, yo, why would you have 1,000 bottles of baby oil? But again, I could see a good attorney being like, is it a crime to own
1,000 bottles
of baking soda? No, it's not a crime to own them. Nope.
No,
not a crime, but they're gonna ask the question.
Why do you have them?
Why do you have so many bottles? I'm telling you, that's gonna be the star witness.
Run your business.
He'll be the star witness of this.
What if he be like, yo, I got really bad eczema?
Nah,
there you go.
What if he was like, yo, I planned on gifting them, or I planned on donating these to ashy people in another country?
There you go. That could be it. Listen, what if he said he was having he had a kiddie pool and he's having like wrestling or something? Baby oil wrestling matches. That could be it.
That's what they use for the.
There's nothing illegal about them wrestling matches in the kid pool.
Yeah, oil wrestling is a thing, bro.
I'm just saying, like, it's humorous and nobody.
Trump in a nervous situation. He's facing life. His life is in dire straits. His whole world is turned upside down. His hair is gray.
I wonder if how you call it?
Oil.
I wonder what this has done for Johnson and Johnson. Like, has the stock gone up, or has because he probably single-handedly caused like a baby oil shortage in the States.
Yo, that's funny, right?
The state.
I'm not even gonna blow myself up. I was about to say something. I don't want
to. Where to get them from? Walgreens shipped them to his house or something? Where the hell they get 1,000 bottles? They had to come from Johnson and Johnson.
And half Pierre to go get him. He sent the crew.
Yo, how you gonna send somebody? Yo,
go Walgreens and right there, you gotta get 1,000 Johnson's Target.
Go to the store and pick me up 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Nah, yo.
Nah, it's not going.
He probably ordered them directly from Johnson and Johnson. That's the only way you get that many.
What were you doing with the baby oil, Sean? I can't wait to hear. I gotta hear that. That's gonna be the meme of the year, son. The baby oil. But
did he force Cassie?
He got a lot of kids, though. There you go.
Hold on. Mo said, did he force Cassie into all kinds of sexual acts? The allegation is that he actually did, and that he was hired. That he hired, I guess, like her to engage in sexual acts
with
with
other.
other people.
prostitutes. While he recorded them. So yeah.
Mhm.
Radical Notion said, I feel like there are things on those videos that we are unaware, unconscious, people being sexually assaulted by him. Well, I mean, if they do, if the prosecution do have it and his attorney seen it and they didn't take the deal, then
Crazy.
that's crazy. Like if they actually have, on video, because part of a trial is you have to disclose your evidence. You can't just bluff and be like, I got a tape. And what the hell was Puffy doing with a tape anyway? And
Video tape, and then
VHS tape. Yo, that's a nasty porn addiction.
that dude is not like he should have been like the damn grocery store. 30 days later, the tape is empty.
But it wasn't. It probably was a hard drive. It probably was something like like they probably found him on his hard drive or whatever it is. But
That dude got mad terabytes or something.
again, you gotta have if you say I have evidence of your client committing a crime on this hard drive or this tape or whatever, that has to be turned over. It goes to a number of people to go to the defense because they got to view it to prepare a legitimate defense, and it has to be authenticated. So I'm sure I had to go out to a specialist to confirm, like, yeah, this is in fact
real,
whatever it is around it. So if they got him on tape doing something crazy and they don't, how you call it, and his attorneys ain't advised him to take that deal, yo, that'd be wild. That would
I
be
wonder
real.
if somebody actually checked if that was baby oil in all those bottles. What if it wasn't baby oil?
What you think?
Who knows? But imagine that though. Imagine you how you call it, like, yo, they bust in your house and they find, yo, we found 2,000 rolls of toilet tissue. Like, it's bizarre, but I don't know if it constitutes a criminal offense.
Shot.
Can you imagine that?
Shot. If I go in your bathroom and see all
if you go in my bathroom and you see 2,000, you gonna be like, yo, what the hell he doing with 2,000 rolls of toilet?
You damn right. I'm like, yo, Shot, why you got 2,000?
Well, are you gonna call the cops and be like, yo, we need the cops out here?
Nah, I ain't gonna call the cops, but scratch my head every time I go in the bathroom and see all of them.
They might have been on sale.
Yo, so you know what Puffy should probably, his attorney should probably be like, what about them people that's coupon clippers that hoard all that stuff that they go out and get? People have 500 cans of cat food and don't even have a cat.
He ain't got.
There you go. He might have been coupon clipping for Johnson & Johnson.
That'd have been all right if he had Tide, Cottonelle, Ajax. Yeah.
If it was more than just baby oil.
If he had all the other stuff to go with baby oil, I'd have been fine. But baby oil by itself?
I don't know what baby oil goes with. I don't use no damn baby. Yo, who uses baby oil?
Bro.
He got mad kids. Maybe changing diapers. Huh?
The show is PG-13.
Or hold on a second. Or yo, hear me out. Maybe, just maybe he was getting them for the low. Maybe this is really about him being the distributor. He was getting them for the low. He's flipping them. Yeah, he was flipping them like, yo, I caught a sale. Maybe the plug. And he was getting them for the low.
Maybe on the plug. He going around distributing around everywhere.
Now we gotta get Shaw on the defense team, son.
All you gotta do is muddy the water. That's all you gotta do is muddy the water and be like,
they should find another person with a bunch of baby oil.
If I was his attorney, I'd be like, you know what? You know what I would be like? I'd be like, yeah, Your Honor, my client is a freaky ass dude. He's a 69 God. But is that a criminal offense? How do you plead, pervert? Yo, but is that a crime again? Like,
no, it's not a crime to be a freak. It's not. It's a prerogative if you want to live on the wild side. Now, but Yada's point, if you coerced or you had to drug and manipulate someone to be in the freak offs, then you're liable for the charges, then, bro.
You know what? If I'm the lawyer, I'm like, did y'all test or sample all those 1,000 bottles? What if they're not all baby oil? Who checked them all?
Kenyatta's strategy is to try to get, this baby oil is inadmissible.
Exactly.
This is not oil. My God, wow. Yeah, shot. That's shot through that one in there. We just our water. This is essential water over here. This is not oil.
Exactly. He might just be reusing the bottles.
Or what if he just really ashy between this area right here on his? He was getting stocking stuff with his. I don't know. I'm just saying that how you call
extremely it. Moisturized.
Yo, it looked crazy. It looked crazy. It definitely looked crazy. I'm not denying that. But what I am saying is, I don't know if it constitutes a crime. You know?
Nah, I don't think they got no law against having excessive amounts of baby oil.
Maybe he was opening up a massage parlor.
Could have been.
I don't know. But again, like I said, my position is I feel like that he'll probably beat it, pause.
That might have been what the baby oil was for.
Gotta go have Diddy do life, son.
Oh man, hold on. Yo, moving on. Y'all, have y'all saw the video circulating around social media with the woman from Minnesota that called the autistic 5-year-old boy the N-word because he went in her son's diaper bag? As a result of this, she took to social media and she went to a platform similar to GoFundMe called Give Send Go, and so far has raised $700,000 in support of her. Now, her position is that she called the 5-year-old autistic young black boy out for what he was, and that's freedom of speech. I'm wondering from y'all, do you think that constitutes freedom of speech or hate speech, and why?
I'm trying to understand like how you got to GoFundMe. What the hell are they funding? Stupidity.
Right, and she already got $700,000.
Yeah, you just gonna give somebody money for saying dumps?
No, she said she needs that money to relocate because after dude put online that she's gotten death threats and she's concerned about another son and she wants to relocate and just a whole bunch of BS, I guess.
She started with $50K. That was her first ask. Then it went from $50K to $1 million. In weeks, she got like $350,000, and now she's up to $700,000. That's a little bit more than just for protection.
That's definitely hate speech. That's crazy because think of it this way. Why do you have to attach the race part to the autism part? It could have just been an autistic kid, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you attached the race part to it because that's what you meant. That was your intent. So that was definitely a race thing. And I like to see who these people are that's donating this money or something.
You can't. They turn the comments off. Like originally the comments were off. So now when people donate, they put up like numbers that's supposed to symbolize like white supremacy and things like that. But I did like some quick math and it looked like she had a number of donations that it seems like average about $25 a donation. And I kind of feel like a lot of this is a byproduct of where we are as a country. Yes. That people feel is this level of comfort around this. Like there was a time where if something like this came up, somebody would be shamed so much.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like we live in a time where supporters come out and they like, oh, I'm in support of this and defend it openly and defend it publicly. And it's really, really disgraceful that people would even get behind this and put their money behind this. Like we live in a weird time.
Very weird time.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Everybody wants to make a damn video.
Pause, what up?
And this is where it started from this dude wanting to make a video. But how about they put Homeboy on blast? The dude that took the video was in a criminal case for criminal sexual conduct.
Well, you know why they put him on blast or whatever? You demonize, it's almost like when
lady, now you got to be demonized.
Well, not only that, when you think about it, like when and this I hate to conflate with this, but when somebody shoots an unarmed man or whatever, what is one of the first things they do? They discredit the person that was shot. Well, he had a rap sheet, he had this, he had that, whatever it is, but that doesn't change from the fact that you shot an unarmed man. So whatever this man had in his rap sheet, or whatever, based on whatever he did, he's not on video doing that. He did it. I'm assuming he had to do whatever time he is or whatever. But why are we trying to deflect from
Right.
you on video calling a 5-year-old autistic kid the N-word?
Right. To put him on blast. The charges were dropped, but that was just it's like, why that even need to be mentioned that he was charged with something. But I think that this is a hateful situation for whatever reason. She probably didn't like seeing any kids of color come walking into the park or the playground where her kids were at. And just for any reason, just to have something to say, she went through a little Karen moment, typical Karen shit. Feeling the way she was feeling, and she probably didn't think anybody was gonna say anything. So, but she got caught. Good for her.
Have you seen like right-wing media defend her though? Well, hold on. Let me read some of the comments at IG. So Kareem said Diddy gonna be in court like Nino Brown was in New Jack City. Radical Notion says it's absolutely disgusting. A 5-year-old kid. Hell no, that's hate speech for sure. If I punch her in the face, I saw her. maybe she's right. Yeah, no, it's like the right-wing media has really come to her defense on Fox News. People defend.
Fox. You know, Fox don't give a care about nobody, especially if you're a person of color. Fox don't give a rotten. Maybe the kid was trying to steal not just the something out of the kid's bag. He's probably trying to steal a wallet, a phone. You know how Fox get. Fox said, "Oh man."
Look at the tone though. Look at the tone of where we're going as a country, because right now she's at 700,000 for this, right? So she's at $700,000 or probably more for this. And then recently I'm hearing that the DOJ is about to settle with the woman who died in the insurrection for 30 million, that she was actually one of the people invading the Capitol and got killed. And now the Department of Justice is considering settling, or maybe they did settle with the family for $30 million. You heard it right.
You talking about a person protecting it, or a person that was actually going in there to do dirt?
A person who was going in there to do dirt is going to be getting $30 million.
Oh, nah, they shouldn't get nothing.
Well, Donald Trump wants to settle with this family.
Now, you know the funny thing about that? The funniest thing about it is I haven't heard $1 settle with the police officer dude from Jersey who got killed trying to protect the Capitol. You hear nothing about them settling for that.
Well, like I said, this is a time, a sign of the times that we live in.
It's indicative of where we're at now, bro.
That's insane.
It's I don't know anything about this. The first time I heard of this platform, but I know GoFundMe had like strict policies around funding anything that was related to, I guess, like hate, related to like criminal defenses for heinous acts and stuff like that. Like GoFundMe wouldn't allow it, but this platform, and the thing about it also is they saying that this is a Christian fundraising platform as well. The fact that they turned off the comments is, that's telling. Like, could you imagine what those comments must have said? Now I'm thinking that they turned off the comments not because the comments were predominantly anti her actions. I'm thinking the comments probably had stuff in there that was very supportive of it.
I would imagine they were supportive on a Christian platform. But to think, man, the average dollar amount donated was $25. She reached $700,000. That's a lot of people donating, because not everybody donated exactly $25. Probably $1, $5 here, but for that many. But people of faith, they do support one another. I tell you that.
Well, you got to figure as regular people too, and we talk about the economy and how people are struggling and stuff. For you to go out and commit any amount of money to this or something, and that's claiming you're struggling, that's kind of crazy too. You could put $25 in the hate speech bucket.
Yeah. Radical Notion. I did see that too, that there was a woman that was going around on Instagram that she was trying to stop her from receiving the money, but nobody knows if that's been successful. It just really speaks to like the level of support around white supremacy, and for people to get behind that and actually spend money on that is very disturbing.
Just let you know it's pervasive, man, and it's here to stay. And they're gonna keep promoting it like that, so people know that it's here to stay. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna support their own.
Do you feel like in recent times people have become emboldened to, as and what has emboldened them? Like, is it solely because Donald Trump, or people are just it's just the time that people are like, nah, it's cool, I'm out in the open with my hate.
I think it's both. I think Donald Trump is giving people a lane to feel comfortable with doing so because of his views and who he is and what he stands by. So people feel a little, oh, son, Donald Trump's in there. I can say something and get away with it. And that's probably what she was thinking. I ain't nobody gonna mess with me. Hi, little nigger.
If they ask, if they ask him, you know what I could see him saying?
What was the kid stealing?
No, I mean he probably say that, but I could see him saying something like there were wrong people on both sides.
Yeah, that little 5-year-old.
There were wrong
You
people
know,
on
got
both
a criminal record.
You don't remember they asked him about Charlottesville and he said something about like, yeah, I saw there were wrong people on both sides.
Don't worry, they're gonna take the 5-year-old
There were
kid.
also good people too. That know there's some very, very, very good people. Some very good people.
Yeah.
On both sides. Get out.
Now they're gonna have him in the White House, superimpose MS-13 on his fingertips like that dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. A 5-year-old. Look, he was MS-13 at it. The Lil Wayne Carter 3 album cover. He a teardrop. He's a little gang member.
Now he in Venezuela, a juvenile camp somewhere.
Oh,
Catch up to this
man.
5-year-old, he's going straight to Venezuela.
Ridiculous, bro.
Yeah. Have you been following this this very, very sad, tragic case with Ryan Hinton?
Ryan Hinton, yeah.
Yeah, and his dad, so Ryan Hinton was shot and killed by police, and I think they confirmed that he did have a gun on him when the police shot and killed him. And his father ended up running down a deputy. I think this gentleman was retired or something like that, but he was still a deputy and was doing like off-duty work that was unrelated to, this wasn't a officer that was involved in anything involving his son, but ran the gentleman down and killed him, and he's been since arrested.
So he ran over a random
aggravated murder, a random. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was an eye for an eye. Like he
went
after the same officer that did that.
Nah, just a random dude. A random dude. Like it to me, it very much speaks to lack of faith in the judicial system and lack of faith in law enforcement that he would take matters in his hand like that.
Yeah, that's a vigilante move. But it's almost, I was likening this to like, how you ever walked under a tree with a bird's nest, and if you get too close to the nest, the mother bird will come out and peck your fucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
If you got too close to a youngin', you'll see it with lions, you'll see it with elephant, you see it with anything in nature. That when you harm one of their ewes, you can expect an immediate reaction. Now, if this man was insane or out of his mind, that's the question. But to see your son or to see your child murdered that way, that's it. Whether he had a gun or not, I don't think that was a question of whether that he was worrying about that. He just saw that my son is unalive, and it was by your hands, and whether he was wrong or right, his father felt like his son shouldn't have lost his life. Yeah. Now, in haste, in that you can lose your moral judgment and do exactly what he did.
Yeah,
you take my son's life, I'm gonna take one of you guys' life. Some people say that's standing on business.
Yeah, I don't though. I can't condone that.
You know what I mean? But that was, you can tell that's clearly rage.
Mm-hmm.
That's clearly, whether he was in his right mind or not, he said to himself, "Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do." I don't think he's gonna. Well, he's not getting out of this. I just sometimes vigilante justice ain't the right way to go, because you find yourself in a situation like this, and this doesn't help any police reform in any way, because we hear about this all the time. Cop shoots a young kid, and we hear that the young kid was young and he had a vibrant life, but then we miss the part that He's been stealing cars for the last 13 years, or he just been in the system back and forth and that type of thing. And you start the family. How was he raised? Is the father in the house? Clearly, his father was in the house. So what would galvanize a kid with good family bringing up a father in the house, a 2-parent household, whatever. These are all left for question. But I did see the video. He did have the gun. The officer was actually running after another of them because there was 4 assailants in the car. He went running. The officer shouts out, "There's a gun coming to your right." And as he turned, here the young man came running for his life, and he ends up getting popped. I think it's unfortunate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 3 people lost their lives. His son lost his life.
Police
The officer lost a life, and
And
now he's gonna lose his life. And I don't know if there's capital punishment where he's at, but he's definitely gonna spend the rest of his
Oh
life.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
up for the death penalty. They're trying to pursue the death penalty.
I figured that much. I
You know
figured
what's
that.
what's funny? We were just talking about that funding thing, and some people actually put a GoFundMe up page for him that GoFundMe took down. So
Of
they
course.
had, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think well, if anything, if I'm his lawyer, I'm definitely gonna plead some sort of temporary insanity.
I think his attorney started already laying the groundwork for
yeah,
that. To say that he was distraught. Like I read an article where they said that they brought him to the precinct and they showed him the video, that they actually he's seen the body camera and that he was numb. He had no commentary whatsoever. And I think that his attorney is laying the groundwork for that to be his defense, that that he was the circumstances. Like he may end up getting the Diddy plea deal where you could get life with, well, he probably get life with the possibility of no parole, but they won't it won't be capital punishment. Yeah, they won't kill him. But it really is unfortunate. And I read some of the comments on social media around it. There's a lot of people that's kind of like in agreement with it, but I don't see the correlation behind the fact that the gentleman was a police officer, but that man had no involvement in what happened with his son. That's like anything happened. That's like anything could happen in the street and you just picking to take your I need vengeance. I want justice, and you take it out on anybody else, so I can't co-sign that. Sad to see his son gone, and sad to see the deputy lose his life also.
Yeah.
But that's what I said when I seen it, I'm like, it really speaks to that there is no confidence in in the police system or the court system. Yeah, that people just feel like I have to take matters into my own hand. Now, I don't know if he was just out in the street and was like, yo, you know what? They killed my son, the first police officer I see, I'm giving it to.
I think that was his mindset, because
that's probably
officer was on traffic duty. I think you say he's about to retire. So that's why give him the least, the minimalist thing he needed. Like, just go do some tickets for 30 days before your last day. And he unfortunately loses his life because another man is angry because of his counterparts or his co-workers or whatever took someone else's life.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
The emotions is running high with this one though. Did you see the courtroom footage stuff though, where all the police officers were there and there was like some dust up with his brother, where his brother couldn't, I guess, get past, how they had it blocked off, and the gentleman went to remove him from asking to go inside. And so this one is going to be this could probably end up being this would be a grand opening, grand closing trial. But it's just like I said, 3 lives were lost with this one.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about the residuals of both the families and all types of stuff there. So
yeah. And I think Rob, you mentioned the part around like was the father and this, that I think in the coming days that'll come out also. And I feel like there was like when we first started this podcast, we used to have discussions about it, and it used to often come up and people would always be like, well, we're the parents and this, that. And I always say that I think that that's a safe place that we tend to go on a lot of stuff, like we're the parents or whatever. But if you think about it, like every person has made a decision in their life that ain't have shit to do with their parents, and that their parents would have advised differently. But it's just the piece falls on people look for somebody to point the finger towards and be like, yeah, that's child rearing, or where was the mom and dad? But his son was, I think, like 18 years old. You know, so at the age of 18, even though your brain is not fully developed, you know, like you can't, I don't know if you can keep the parent on the you know, keep the parent on the line of responsibility forever. You know, like parents can instill in their kids certain things, and then you leave it to when your kids out in the community that they actually exhibit, you know, the correct behavior, the things that you taught them, and they practice what you taught them. And it sounds like that his son was in the street involved with probably stealing cars or doing, you know, doing whatever it is. And sadly, like this is what it ended up being, you know.
It's unfortunate, bro.
It is, you know. And I, you know, when these things come up, it's always easy to kind of get behind and rally behind, like, you know, police misconduct and, you know, how the police did something wrong or whatever. But if they literally said that dude had a gun, you know, and they got it on tape or whatever, it really makes it hard to defend his actions.
So that's the first thing I see. Gun. And he actually had one.
Yeah, yeah, as they said.
Wasn't his wallet, wasn't a sandwich, wasn't his food.
wasn't a bottle of what was it? Ice pop, the cornbread joint.
Yeah, soda pop.
Soda pop. Wasn't soda pop.
Soda pop, no Skittles.
Yeah.
This kid had a pistol.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But
But anything in closing from you guys? The predictions are in. For those that are watching, again, the predictions are Ken and Rob predicted guilty verdicts. I predicted not guilty. We'll watch it closely. We'll see where it goes, because I feel like that Diddy's attorney is just they're gonna make this a circus and
make it a circus, man.
deny. And you know, when it's all said and done, it's gonna be very humorous for all of us. We all gonna get a good laugh at Diddy's sexual proclivities, because all of it is gonna come out.
Everybody went down, bro. Bill went down, Kelly went down. You think they gonna do nothing to Puff?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I didn't think of it that way. That, like, you know, all the pervs of it.
Puff my dead side of this one. that nigga.
Yo, it's funny. You know what?
I'm not bashing her. I'm not saying it's like, yo, get this nigga, because he's whatever he did, whatever he's been doing, we're seeing it turn a corner on him now.
I know if he get off, you're gonna have bad boy for life coming out that court.
Yeah, it don't even reward our opinion of it now, because it's turned on.
What is the excuse me, what is the climate though now that we're in versus when those people were? Do you feel it's the same climate? Because I feel like when Bill Cosby got snatched up, it was like really like in the height of the Me Too movement. And then R. Kelly joint was just so deplorable that it was just like, come on. But are we still in an environment where it's like heavy on the Me Too stuff?
I think that this might cap it. I think this might
be the one that closes, that seals the door. Like,
big fist, real in the big fist, Puffy.
This is the hoorah right here.
Captain Touch a Lot.
Yeah,
he got the head toucher.
Brother Love been loving a lot of people, man, and he's out here. He got a lot of people's names implicated with him, so I think this might be the last hoorah.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if he beats this, and you run Johnson & Johnson, would you try to get it sign him up for an endorsement deal?
No, man.
You know he used the products.
Imagine Puffy ass on the front of a bottle.
brother
right
Love.
here.
What's
Brother
up?
Love.
The Ciroc baby oil.
There you go.
Known to get woozy.
Now, so let me say this though. As much conspiracy we always hear when this stuff come out, I don't be hearing a lot of people talk about that. I've heard it a couple of times, but not nearly as much as Bill Cosby was trying to get NBC and this, that. But you don't be hearing about how this tequila company, De Leon or whatever, they responsible for taking Puff down. Do you hear that a lot as a conspiracy theory? Like,
it was heard when it first started, but you don't hear it often now. I think the term conspiracy theory, or even the idea of it, people are starting to. They're not paying attention to that language anymore. People want to see the outcome. People want to see people fried. Niggas want to see niggas go down. They want to see the building crumble, and so they can point the finger. Because let's say he does walk away, then what?
Somebody else is gonna be next.
A lot of motherfuckers like, nah, that you gonna still say, nah, he did it. Now, if he said he didn't do it,
you're gonna write a tell-all book.
I mean, he already guilty in the court of public opinion.
You're gonna get a book deal 1 minute afterwards.
Yeah, he already guilty in the court of public opinion, and then the next thing will be those civil cases. You know,
I want to hear from Al B. Shore.
Al B. Shore want to hear from Al B. Shore. He begging to testify. What is he gonna say though? What can Al B. Shore say?
Al B. Shore, I think Al B. Shore got a lot of dirt under his nails for Mr. Combs.
I don't know if he got dirt, but he got hate.
Yeah. He ain't have Queen come on home, telling the kid he could come home.
I think Al B got something to say about this. Put Al B on the stand. Man.
Do you think Al B. Shore is would you call him if you were the prosecution? Do you think he's a credible witness?
No. No, not at all.
Yeah, I said no.
I'll be sure you call him to stand. They'll be like, see what I'm talking about? They'll use him exactly as this is the type of hate that Puffy has to endure all the time. Look at this guy right here. He done raised this man's kid, and he got up here testifying going hard against him.
Yeah, I would not call Al B. Shore to the stand. I would not. You know, it's just Al B. Shore is just. What is he going to say? Like, well, you know, he was with Kim Porter. You know, my kid never came home. Or what is Al B. Shore? What does Al B. Shore know? When is probably Al B. Shore? When's the last time he probably even been around Puffy?
I'll be sure. I got a new record coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that I don't think he's a credible witness. I think the best witness they have is Cassie, and you know, I'm sure they probably could. You know, some other victims. It's going to be hilarious. It's an open court, but it's not on video, so we can't watch it. But anybody could go down to the courthouse and get in. But I'd imagine the courthouse is probably, you know, jam packed. Right. You know, with people trying to get in to see or cover the case. But anybody could go and, you know, see it. It probably is. It's going to be when the transcripts come out. It's going to be very hilarious. You know, people are going to be cracking up because, you know, all the dirt is going to come out and they're going to spend a lot of time reviewing, you know, and talking about all the things that he did. And people are going to find a lot of humor in it.
It's going to be crazy, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah. Anyway, closing words, Rob?
What do I have closing words? Yes. Use coconut oil, not baby oil. Listen, yo, I don't want to wish the man nothing bad. I don't wish nobody nothing bad. Stay on top of your game. You know, keep a moral compass out here because shit like this is going on in the world. You know, people are not thinking right. Emotions are high. People are, you know, kind of living off the cuff. You know, just be mindful of your surroundings, man, because a lot of people are under pressure nowadays. There's a lot going on, so just be safe out here, bro.
Okay. Much. What about you, Kanata?
Don't let all this Puffy stuff and all this other stuff distract you from the stuff that's really going on. Yeah. The Orange Assassin is trying to get rid of habeas corpus because the people that he's sending overseas, they overturning all those cases and making them bring back. So he's trying to change the Constitution now so that he can overrule that stuff. So don't get caught out looking at these sensationalized cases and not understanding what's really going on.
Talk about.
Yeah. Then in other words, is a fancy way of saying, don't worry, you ain't got no damn rights. That's basically saying you don't have no damn rights. Peace, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Have a good night.